It's like perfect. I mean, it's crazy.
You had 18 throw games.
Yeah, well, okay, let's do Lions. Final story is Detroit and registering another victory. So I made a lot about this is their first outdoor game of the season. Remember last week? And then it was the rain and like, oh, this is not indoor football weather. And the Lions just came out and just destroyed the Packers. I mean, this was a dismemberment and showed that the Lions are, I think, clearly the best team in the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I think there's an argument. I mean, we thought bad weather was a liability for Detroit. It was a liability for Green Bay.
Yeah, Jordan Love couldn't control the ball. The snaps. I mean, anyways, here's Jared Goff calling out the doubters, including myself, after the postgame.
We're supposed to be the dome team who, can't play outside. We're supposed to be the team that, can only win one way. And I think we've shown a handful of times we can win in multiple ways. We're chameleons, and whatever it takes to win in whatever way, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, That's the best roster right now. It's a younger version of San Francisco's roster. We've been saying this for weeks. Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl feels almost inevitable. The way Kansas City always is great in the big moments, and the way Detroit, frankly, doesn't even ask Jared Goff to do much. I mean, they're winning, not despite their quarterback. They're winning, and they basically haven't shifted into second gear for Goff. They're asking him to throw we'll ask you 22 throws a game. I mean, they don't even need to sniff the 30 pass attempts.
Well, because they're blasting everybody. But that's a good number to bring up. So do you remember that Tampa Bay loss in week 2? Jared Goff came out and threw the ball 55 times. Remember, we were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Tampa had some injured defensive backs, so they were like, let's attack. They clearly realized that was a terrible idea. Jared Goff has not thrown the football more than 25 times in a game since then.
Yeah.
That's smart football. Ben Johnson.
I don't even there used to be a record with Kobe Bryant. There would be like if he scored over 40, the Lakers actually didn't have a great record. And I don't know what Patrick Mahomes maybe breaks this, but I find most of the time when you ask a quarterback to throw over 45 times a game, Dak is like 38. Dak's number is 38. If he throws over 38, he loses. If he throws like under 37 and below, before this year, he would win. So I don't think quarterbacks were meant to be Superman. I think you ask Josh Allen and Lamar in moments to do that. But there's a reason they got Derrick Henry in Baltimore. There's a reason James Cook, the running back in Buffalo's been so valuable. There's a reason the Chiefs miss Isaiah Pacheco. Even the great quarterback should be throwing about max 34 to 36 times a game, max.
Yeah, we didn't get to Detroit's defense, which looked okay. But Colin,
it's okay.
This week the biggest game is Lions and Texans on, I believe it's Sunday Night Football. Have you seen a line for that? It's in Houston.
I would guess Detroit favored by 4.
I think it's 4.5, but that is a large number to be favored on the road against C.J. Stroud. Especially
coming off a really emotional division game.
So do you want to lock in that for the Blazing 5 this week? Get in front of that Detroit train? That's risky.
Let me consider that.
Well, he said that the Packers were going to win this, so, I don't know if he's got his pulse on the Lions just yet. There's a few things that I really want to attack right here, and I will. Because first off, Colin said that the Lions are the best team. He said this on his podcast yesterday, that he goes, we have to face it. The Lions are the best team. Now, today, he says the Lions have the best roster. He's too afraid to come out and say that the Lions are the best team. I've been saying it for weeks now, that the Detroit Lions are the best team. They have the best roster. They're the most prepared, right? They're just stacked with talent. I get it. Andy Reid is the best coach, right? And Spags is the best defensive coordinator. I get it. But they're lacking the depth and the talent that the Lions have. The Lions have it now. And the Lions have the experience and the maturity. And they still get to have that chip on their shoulder, because even though they're this top dominant team right now, they still have this chip on their shoulder, as Jared Goff put, where he's like, oh, we're supposed to be a dome team and we can only win one way. So that's obviously a conversation that they're having in the locker room. That's obviously sounds like something that Dan Campbell's like, they think we can't win this game. Let's prove those guys wrong. And it continues to be this rallying cry. So they get to have this benefit where it's like, hey, we're ferocious. We're literal lions attacking people and just going for it. And we're doubted though, so we get to have that rallying cry, that connection. The media doubts us, right? Other teams doubt us. Like nothing feels better than proving doubters wrong. Quite honestly, right? Like I still think of, and this is obviously a significantly smaller scale, but I just think of any times that people have doubted me and I've overcome it. And it's like, yeah, okay, I see you. Like, it feels better that than having people believe in you and you succeed at something and they're like, I knew you could always do it. And it's like, well, thank you. But for something feels better about proving doubters wrong. So the fact that the Lions get to have that aspect to their culture, to their identity, even though technically nobody should be doubting them, like it shouldn't actually exist, it benefits them so much, quite frankly. And so yeah, and it always frustrates me though, because Colin's like, oh, maybe when you asking your quarterback to throw a lot, it's not really that great of a situation, which I'm a firm believer in. He goes, maybe Mahomes breaks that. Mahomes doesn't. Mahomes has won Super Bowls throwing the ball like 22 times. He's, every time he beats one of these other big quarterbacks, Lamar, Josh Allen, whatever it is, he always throws significantly less times than the opposing quarterback. So no, they're not asking Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball 45, 50 times and win. That's not what happens. And last time, I think both quarterbacks had to be in this big time shootout. It was Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes, and Jared Goff won. So put some respect on Jared Goff. Let's not act like if we ask Jared Goff to do too much that he automatically fails. It's a bad game plan for any quarterback, not unique to Jared Goff, and there is no one quarterback that magically transcends that. So it's just not accurate. If anything, that the criticism should fall on who's ever making the game plan and play calling, whether it's the offensive coordinator or the more likely offensive head coach. But Jared Goff, 18 for 22, 145 yards, right? Like not that special technically. 6.6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 109 rating, right? It was a pretty easy day for Goff, but awesome distribution, right? 8 different receivers when you're only throwing the ball when you're only throwing the ball 22 times is so awesome to see. 32 carries, 124 rushing. Like, this isn't earth-shattering numbers. Like, it's so interesting to have J-Mac be like they decimated or picked apart the Packers. But when you look at these numbers, 145 passing, 124 rushing, you're kind of like, how did this unfold then, right? And you can see the score 24-14, which is not fully representative of the score. That never really felt like the Packers were necessarily in this game. And I know the rain, and the weather started to kind of make things a little bit different and a little bit weirder. But right, I mean, it was huge because this is what the Lions, when they're at their best, right? They're on the road, they're in Lambeau, divisional game, and they hold the Packers to a field goal, which for the most part is going to be a success. Obviously, you don't want to give up any points, really, ideally 3 and out or something, but holding down to a field goal, and then their first drive, they go down and march down the field and score a touchdown. That signals, like, anytime you can one up in your opening drive, that signals we are the aggressor. We both started this team. We both had the ball. We did more than you. We did more than you offensively, and we held you back defensively, right? And again, to be able to do that on the road, it's unsettling. And I'm sure even as a Lions fan, like, you felt this just as a fan when it's reverse, right? When another team puts up a touchdown and your team now goes 3 and out or only a field goal, you automatically feel uneasy for a second. You're like, all right, like, you were feeling really good going into this game, and you're like, all right, we're down now, but it's okay. And you have to kind of talk to yourself. It's okay. It's all good. We're going to stop them here, and then we're going to get a touchdown or whatever. And now we're going to be up, 10-7 or something, right? Like, it's more like self-talk that you kind of have to pump yourself up to. But when you actually execute it, like the way how this was done, it's just like, again, you're putting the other team on their back foot. You're putting the pressure on them. The fans getting uncomfortable, the coaching staff getting uncomfortable, the players getting uncomfortable. It just puts it all on them. And then when you see them crumble underneath that, it's just like, again, it feels like a grown man just poking at someone significantly smaller than them, right? It's just like, go ahead. I'm pushing you, like, push me back. And it's like, you can't. You literally physically can't push me back. It's bully ball. Right? But it's like, it's bully ball in a different way. It's psychological bully ball, right? It's not just like, you can't stop us because we're bigger and stronger than us. It's because we are just a better prepared, complete team than you. And that's what the Lions keep doing. And to be very clear, I think the Packers are a great team. So to be able to do this on the road in this situation, there's a reason why Colin picked the Packers to win this game, right? Because he kind of outthought himself in that regard. But the Lions were 2 for 2 on fourth, 4 for 12 on third. Again, nothing crazy, but 2 for 2 on fourth. I mean, they gave up a lot of yards. They gave up 411 yards to the Packers, right? The Lions were 261, but they held them to 3 for 12 on third and 1 for 4 on the red zone, right? So they were like, yeah, you can get some yards, and some of this will be also like, you know, soft coverage and things of that nature. But it's like, when push comes to shove, like, we will stop you, right? We will stop you when it needs to be. And then you take advantage of a terrible interception and get the pick six, right? Like, it's just, I even wrote, this game wasn't earth-shattering, right? But significantly took advantage of the opportunities when they had them. To me, that's what sums up this game. This game wasn't earth-shattering, but they took advantage of all the opportunities, and that's what the great teams do, right? They take advantage, and they stopped the Packers' punches. When the Packers had their opportunities, the Lions were again like, no, not today, right? Better luck next time. And this was a game that I was really interested to see the Lions win this way, because like I've said as well, when I've talked a lot about the Lions, it's like, to some degree, especially once you start like getting a big lead, it can be really easy to just pile on the points, right? It becomes pretty easy to pile on the points against a team like the Panthers, the Titans, the Cowboys, right? Like, and it's fun and it's cool to watch, but it's like, okay, that's great, and you love to see it, but like, you need to be able to do more than that. And when we saw some of these tighter games, it was like, what do the Lions look like? What does the play calling, the preparation, the game plan, what does this all look like? And we saw the Buccaneers, and like, that was like, you know, no dice. Didn't like that. Even against the Cardinals, they won that game, but it still felt somewhat incomplete to me personally. This is the other box that I really wanted to see the Lions check off. Because if they do get to the Super Bowl, which obviously is a very great bet to make, and let's say they face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you can't expect the game to go like the Cowboys game, right? It's not going to go like that. If anything, there's a great chance that it gets really ugly and muddled like the Buccaneers, right? Like, and this wasn't, again, this was a different, more unique game, but it's just not going to be as clean. It's going to be ugly. You're going to go up against another team that can also take advantage of opportunities and take advantage of your mistakes. So it's just the margin of error becomes smaller. And so I want to see some of these tighter, closer, weird games. And this is kind of what what Jared Goff was saying when he was saying, like, we can win many ways. You know, we're chameleons. Like, you want to be able to see that, because I know they believe it, but they also need to see it themselves. The players need to know it deeply as well. And that goes a very long way when you are going to face against a team like, say, the Chiefs or whatnot. Or maybe the Chiefs don't make it to the Super Bowl and you're facing a team that also has a huge punch like the Ravens, right? The Ravens arguably have the second best punch in the NFL as well, second to the Lions. And so let's say they're facing each other in the Super Bowl, you have to be prepared to be able to like take that punch as well. That if you're going to put up 40-some points, better understand that you're going to have to keep doing this and keep pace with another team that can put up 40 points. So it's all fascinating to me. It's all so important to have so many different types of wins and game plans and games, which is why Jared Goff said, you know, we're not here just to win one way, because when you can only win one way, when that way is not going your way, you're like, what do we do here? Like, everybody feels like, I don't know what to do here. So again, it's just awesome to be able to see the Lions win in different environments, in different game plans, different approaches, by a huge margin, by a small margin, right? That's what championship teams do. And anyone who's saying that the Lions are not the best team in the NFL right now, you're just confused. You're confused, you're biased, or you're trying to predict who's going to win the Super Bowl. Saying that you're the best team doesn't mean that you're going to automatically win the Super Bowl. Many, many years, probably more often than not, the best team doesn't win the Super Bowl, right? That's just sports in general. But if you can't admit right now that the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL, you're just confused. You really are, because people just want to come back, the Chiefs are undefeated. The Chiefs are undefeated. Okay. It's like I don't care, right? The Lions have one loss. Like, okay, so what does that mean, right? It can't be just by wins and losses, because last year the Chiefs had lost multiple games. They were behind the Lions. They were behind the Ravens, and I think tied with the Bills. Like, and so does that mean that they weren't the best team? Like, it can't just go by one team's undefeated, one team's not. Which team is playing better right now, the Chiefs or the Lions? The answer is obviously, undeniably, the Detroit Lions. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions finding ways to win, proving how great they are, and proving how versatile they are? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.